On the opposite bank of the Kuala Tahan town is the Mutiara Resort and the Jabatan Penglihatan or Wildlife Department Complex, which is also the main entry point into the Taman Negara or National Park. This is also the base for the nearby highest and longest canopy walk, the adventurous river rapid trip, and the treks through the jungle to the caves and to the top of Gunung Tahan, the highest peak of 2,187 meters in Peninsular Malaysia. Waters from the Gunung Tahan mountain flows downstream through the Sungai Tahan to meet the Sungai Tembeling at Kuala Tahan. From the jetty at Kuala Tahan, there are cruise boats for hire to go up the Sungai Tahan. These boats is under the management of the Jabatan Penglihatan or the Wildlife Department. All visitors need to secure a boat. The rate is 240 ringgit per boat for 4 person. This motorized dugout boat journey up the Sungai Tahan can take about an hour, depending on the river water level at the time of the year. The boat ride upstream passes through a lovely and scenic journey that had a strong calming effect on visitors as one gets more in touch with undisturbed nature in the jungle. The Sungai Tahan is in many places are lined up with huge leaning neram trees, forming an archway over the water. Their trunks and branches festooned with fern and orchids. Some of the trees may have been there for 500 years. The boatman skillfully maneuvers the dugout boat through several shallow clear water rapids, especially during the dry, hot season, and his navigational skill is very impressive. Especially during the drought season, the river water level usually gets extremely low. The base of the boat may get stuck with the rocks in the river bed, and the only way to get out of this predicament is to all climb overboard and push it forward. As much as he can, the boatman needs to avoid the outboard engine propeller from smashing against the hard rock by lifting it up a bit. Over the many years of experience in the river, the boatman knew exactly where the deeper channels are and skillfully steers the boat smoothly through. The boatman normally makes a short stop at Lubuk Tenor, a dedicated sanctuary for the endangered ikan kelah, the Malaysian massa, which is considered the king of freshwater fish in Malaysia. It earlier started off as a university research breeding and fish feeding program in Lubuk Tenor and Lubuk Lesong. This program involved the participation of the Orang Asli and the local Malay community that has proven to be very successful. The Kelah Sanctuary is one of the last bastion of pristine Kelah breeding in the peninsula. This program is to ensure that stocks of wild fish like the Kelah or the red golden massa and the sebarau or hampala barb are retained and even propagated.
Morning, today kita berada di Kelah Sanctuary Park, Taman Negara, Kuala Tahan Pahang, dan kami on the way ke Lata Berkoh. But now we are ambil rehat sekejap, nak bermesra dan mandi bersama dengan ikan kelah, kingfish.
Our short stop at Lubuk Tenor is to watch the freshwater fish up close in their natural habitat and feeding them. Most amazingly, they can be summoned for feeding by ringing a bell. We have the opportunity to feed the fishes with pellets given to us by the fish keepers. Now, visitors can feed the hundreds of wild fish like kelah, kerai. Other fishes that can be found here are the greenish grey ikan jelawat and also the red-tailed ikan lampam. One can even swim with the fish and watch them come to you for the pellets as you feed them. Feel the bites and test your skill to touch and hold the fish with your bare hands. This is truly an extraordinary nature experience.
Bro, buka iPhone ni sama bro.
The one thing very noticeable all along the boat ride is the dark tannin-stained river water that flowed over the regiment of smooth stone that entered the tranquil pool of Lubuk Tenor. These tannins is actually from the vegetation decay breakdown. They are a natural organic matter in nature. When they are in the water, they give a tea-like faint yellow color. When smelled, tannin has a musty, earthy odor. Tannins are not harmful to humans, only as an aesthetic concern, even though they make the water look dirty and unappealing.
Jaga ikan kat bawah tu kena tambak.
Swimming with the kelah fish is an experience to cherish.
Belakang ni.
By the leaf-strewn banks, the mammoth neram tree that reaches out towards the middle of the river, creating a gloomy cavern of the sort. This is the perfect breeding water for the elusive kela. By diving underwater, you'll be thrilled to see how big the fish are and how tame and close they came to feeding the pellet. Okay. The boat journey then continues on to make its way further upstream of the Sungai Tahan through the shallow pebbly river as we continue to relish the riverside flora and fauna before reaching the Lata Berkoh water cascade. After about 45 minutes of boat ride upstream, the boats stop about 1,200 meters away from the water cascade, as no boat can no longer get past this point because of the shallow water and dangerous rapids. We all then have to get down and need to walk for another 20 minutes through an easy walking path along the river bank that leads to the cascade. The high-pitched sound of the cicada and other forest insects can be heard loudly in the forest. These jungle tracks can be slippery after heavy rain, as it is in a rainforest. So, make sure you put on a trainer or boots with good grip. And sometime along this jungle trail, you may be able to see evidence of broken twigs and shrubs and fresh elephant poo on the ground. Young bamboo leaves and shoots is the elephant's favorite meal. We used to do an overnight camp here some time back when we conduct our research. We eventually reached the Lata Berkoh spectacular water cascade that marks the limit of easy navigability on the river. Quite untouched, there are deep pools below the cascade with strong undercurrent and it's very cold, fresh, tannin-colored water. Caution, swimming is dangerous. Be warned that the current can be strong and the rocks are slippery as well. Most visitors came to Lata Berkoh to picnic and take a plunge into the tannin-colored water. If you decided to have a bath after the sweaty trekking, squeeze yourself in between the rocks and dip under the cool stream. The rock formation of a cascade creates a natural jacuzzi effect, with the bubbling water providing an invigorating natural spa bath. It's probably the easiest activity that really feels back to nature. Although it is also possible to reach this location through jungle trekking for 8.5 km from Kuala Tahan, but this is quite tough for ordinary people. To get there by this wooden boat is always the most popular choice. As you look further up this river, there is the most challenging hiking trail in Malaysia, climbing up to the Gunung Tahan at 2,187 meters, the highest point in Peninsular Malaysia. This classic trail took a 53-kilometer journey from Kuala Tahan up to the top of Gunung Tahan. Normally, hiking group will take 7 days, 6 nights to complete the route. 4 days ascending up the mountain, crossing the river, long distance trekking, and camping for a few nights in the jungle, and 3 days descending down back to Kuala Tahan. Having satisfied with swimming at Lata Berkoh, by around 11 noon, it's time for us to return back downstream to our resort. As we ride downstream, we kept our eyes and ears open during the journey to appreciate the sound of the natural jungle habitat, such as the loud sound of cicadas and occasionally seeing kingfishers and straw-headed bulbul flying by. There are also several observatory heights built along the route, where you can, if you are lucky, to catch a glimpse of the forest wild animal at night when they are most active. This nature park is home to tigers, black leopard, tapir, elephants, macaque monkey, and bird life, as well as flora and fauna, with the famous enormous flower of the Rafflesia plants. When traveling back downstream, it is well worth to ask your boatman to just drift downstream with the current so that you can truly enjoy listening to the sound of the forest and have a better chance to see the forest habitats. Although I've been up there umpteen times, but I am still amazed and captivated every time I visit by the calmness and the beauty of the rainforest scene.
Balik makan.
Go. Go, jom.
Yo.
Let's go.